And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk. Glad you're able to join us where we talk all things Brevard College Tornado athletics. Have another exciting show on tap this evening. We're going to talk a lot of hoops, which is certainly the flavor of January around here at the Boschmer Gymnasium. Also going to talk some NCAA convention recaps with some members of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee who made the trip to Nashville, Tennessee. But glad you're able to join us. It's going to be a great edition of Tornado Talk this evening. But let's catch you up around Brevard College Tornado athletics. Indoor track and field continues their first season back in over a decade here at Brevard College. And this weekend, they're back in action on Friday in Salem, Virginia. A big event for the indoor track and field team. Best of luck to that group. Men's basketball will be in action versus Greensboro this Wednesday, 5:30 p.m., part of a men's and women's doubleheader at the Bosch. And then on Saturday, the Tornadoes will take on Mary Baldwin. That's 2 o'clock at the Bosch. Hope to see you there both on Wednesday and Saturday. And some breaking news earlier this afternoon, Twain Wilson, the exciting freshman for the Tornadoes, named USA South Rookie of the Week for the 5th time this season. Just an incredible feat. And between Wilson and Brennan Wansley, Tornado men's basketball players have won 10 of the 11 Rookie of the Week awards this season. We're going to talk men's basketball later in the program with head coach Lee Burgess, as well as a couple veterans of that Tornado men's basketball team. That brings us to women's basketball, who have continued their successful campaign this season, 13-4 overall, 8-2 in the USA South Conference as we speak. They're coming off a couple of resounding wins, 62-32 over Greensboro, and then 84-59 at William Peace. Next up for the Tornadoes, a bout with Salem this Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. at the Bosch. That's part of that men's and women's doubleheader. And then a big one at Southern Virginia this Saturday. That's a 4 p.m. tip-off at Buena Vista, Virginia. That brings us to our first guest of the evening, and we're going to invite into the program head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson. Great to have Coach Hudson back with us. Coach Hudson, good to be with you this evening. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Phil? Always good to be on.
Yeah, great to have you with us. And do want to start with, these last couple games. Tornadoes really in control in both of these contests. Most recently at the Bosch, we saw the Tornadoes take on Greensboro, a 62-32 win. And just remarkable, there was only 8 points allowed at halftime. Myself and Joseph Marvin were scurrying through the record books to see when the last time we were holding opponents to those kind of lows. So the defensive effort, superb, and the big win, 62-32 over Greensboro. Coach, what did the Tornadoes learn from that win, and what were the benefits of that matchup versus Greensboro?
Okay, first off, congratulations to the men. Having won that award 10 times out of 11, that says a lot. Congratulations to those two guys, and look forward to watching their success throughout the years here at Brevard. And I'm going back to the Greensboro game. To give up 32 points in a 4-quarter basketball game, Phil, you're doing something well on the defensive end. And that's been something that we've talked about since day one. Offense is something it's going to come and go at times. And as you can look at our numbers throughout the year, our offense has been up and down at times. But for the most part, our defense has been there. It's been there for us to lean on when our offense is kind of going through drought. And like you said, an 8-point half and 32 points in a game. Did you find anything on that? Is that any kind of record or anything that I don't know about?
Yeah. We it's not quite a record. There was a game versus Wesleyan in Macon, Georgia, that the Tornadoes held them to, I think, 25. And so that's the NCAA era record. That happened back in the 2018-19 season, Coach. But certainly 8 at the half, on pace for that.
Yeah, for sure, Phil. For sure. And it's something that we want to strive for every game, to be our best defensively. We have a team that's full of talented offensive players, and at times we can really go on scoring like binges and score the ball really well. And also at times we can kind of go in lows, but something that has to be there every game, every possession, every dribble, every pass, every box out is our defense. And that's really going to carry us down the stretch. And I can't complain too much about it right now. Of course, I can find some things to nitpick about. One of the biggest things right now being our boxing out and our rebounding. That's something that's been an Achilles heel. We've been playing a lot of zone, mixing in some zone with our man. And, when you play zone basketball, Phil, sometimes people get free runs at the basket because you don't have a matchup to box out. So that's something that we're trying to work through and limit some of these second shots that teams are getting. Like our first shot defense, I will put that against anybody in our region. Like we're getting stops when that first shot goes up, but now it's about controlling that rebound and trying to get something in transition. So when our offense does stall out some, we can get some easy buckets and get behind the defense some in transition. But right now I can't complain too much about the defense that we're playing.
Fantastic. Then a few days later, trip to William Peace over in Raleigh, North Carolina, 84-59 victory versus the Pacers. For those who weren't able to tune in for that one, since you guys were out of town, Coach, what went down in Raleigh on Saturday?
A game we shot it well. Like I don't know off the top of my head. I would guess 11 or 12 3-pointers made, something like that. But we made threes at a high clip. Played okay defense, Phil, for quarters 1 through 3. The fourth quarter wasn't what we were looking for, and we kind of came off the gas a little bit. Gave them some baskets that they shouldn't have got. Our defensive matchups got messed up a little bit, and we didn't play our brand of basketball in the fourth quarter. But for the most part, quarters 1 through 3, I'm not sure what the score was at half, but I think we were playing pretty well at the halfway point. But came out in the third quarter, played well, but the fourth quarter kind of came off the gas a little bit, and we're able to come away with a nice win. Anytime you can keep a team under 60, I think you're doing something right. And that's our goal going into every game. We want to make teams keep them below 60. We think we can go in a game and score 60 points. If we can kind of keep you around 60, 62, 55 even, Phil, I love our chances to win those games.
Yeah.
It was really good to see Coach AB see her family and everything. And that's going to be something I look forward to every year.
Yeah, as Annalie Bollinger continues her coaching debut, first season at William Peace. Best of luck to what a great BC alum, not only on the court here, but part of the coaching staff of Coach Hudson. A couple numbers to back up what you were saying, Coach. At the half, the score was 49-18. So, Tornadoes really did a nice job gaining control in that first half. And you mentioned the 3-point shooting, 13 total made 3-pointers, led by 8 from Josie Hester. So it was another one of those days, obviously, that Josie was just on fire. 8 of 11 from beyond the arc for Josie Hester. Love for you to comment even further on Josie Hester and that ability she has to score.
Phil, the kid can just flat out shoot it, man. She can flat out shoot it. And that's not the only thing she brings to us. But if you're watching us play at times and you can see players, they think they're close enough to her, they think they have a hand up. But in my opinion, she's one of those kind of shooters that if she gets it off, it's probably a good shot. Not going to say it's going to go in, but she just has that ability to put the ball in the basket from distance. And like a phrase that I like to use when dealing with shooters is you either have to step on their feet or you have to smell their breath. Honestly, that's how close you have to be to them to where they can't get it off. And when she gets in those moods and those rhythms to where she's putting it in, it really eases the team some from an offensive standpoint, gives us a boost, and everybody kind of gets behind her. And when you're playing well on offense, it leads to you playing well on defense as well. I hate that it's like that with basketball, but when you get a few buckets to go, now you really want to go guard on the other end. I think it should be the other way around. I really want to go guard, then go get some buckets, But a really good performance from her. The team found her in the right spots. She was able to put in some of the threes that we were able to get off some screens, and they played some zone early. So she was able to find some dead spots in the zone, and I think our team plays pretty well against zone. I think we move the ball pretty well. We know the spots to get it to, and it's because we play so much zone in practice. It's one of our defenses that we kind of lean on, so we do it a lot in practice, so they go against it a ton. So when we see zones in games, for the most part, I feel like we're going to get good shots. I can't say they're going to always go in, Phil. As a coach, you just want to generate good looks. You want to generate good looks and put them in when you get the chance to.
Next up for the Tornadoes, this Wednesday, part of that men's and women's doubleheader, the Tornadoes will take on Salem approximately 7:30, 30 minutes after the conclusion of that men's game. We'll get things tipped off on the women's side at the Bosch. And Coach, looking at the schedule, here we are. There's only 2 regular season home games left. So I want to put out the big alert to Tornado fans. Like, you want to catch this women's basketball team. We're planning on hosting some tournament games as well, but there's not that many opportunities left here in the regular season. So hope to see on Wednesday, January 29th. The only other regular season game left at home is Senior Day on February 15th versus Meredith at 4:00. So it's kind of a road-heavy schedule down the stretch here for the Tornadoes. But, this stretch here gets started this Wednesday versus Salem.
Yep. And first off, I love doubleheaders. Like, we don't have them as much as we used to back when I played and when I coached early in my coaching career. I love being able to watch the men play. I was a part of that program here, and I have a lot of love for them, and I love to watch them play. I know how hard LB and Coach Casey work. So I love to support the guys. So we'll be there to support them on Wednesday. And hopefully everybody can come out. Like you said, we only have 2 more left. We have this one on Wednesday. Then we have senior night, I think 2 weeks from Saturday. So if you have time or if you're not busy, come on out and check out both teams. Both teams are playing some good basketball. And it's around that time in mid to late January where you really want to start to see your team round into form. And I feel like we're hitting that stride right now.
And then looking ahead even further, Saturday, a huge one at Southern Virginia. The 2 top teams in the standings in the USA South Conference. We had a great matchup between the 2 where it went late in that 4th quarter before it was decided. And then they'll meet again on Saturday. Coach, I know, Salem's the priority at the moment, but us in the media, we can't help but look ahead to a matchup like this at Southern Virginia.
Yeah, I get it. For sure. Salem is number 1 right now. That's the main thing on our mind. But we will get to Saturday when we get there. And like you said, Phil, it was a game that could have gone either way. Like, I think it finished at 9. Was it 71-62? I think that may have been the final score.
71-62. That's correct, Coach.
Yeah, but we had a shot. We had a chance. We cut it to 4, I think, with a little bit over a minute left. We went down, got a stop. Came down 4 with the chance to cut it to 2 with about 50 seconds to go. And from there, that's anybody's ball game, Phil. But we didn't execute offensively, missed a shot. And from there, you kind of get into the fouling game. We turned the ball over sideline out of bounds, then baseline out of bounds to end the game. So not the ending that we wanted. And throughout the game, we've watched the tape and we understand where we kind of came up short in a few areas. First off, when you're playing a team that good, and it's a pretty good team, shout out to Southern Virginia and Coach Schroeder and what she's doing there. You can't beat yourself. And we did that with some of our shot attempts, and our boxing out wasn't what it needed to be. And this was a game where we didn't play much zone. So we can't blame our boxing out on our zone. We played a lot of man-to-man in that game. And a team that is that efficient, you can't give them 16 extra shots. And I think that was our undoing, Phil. We defended okay at best, but those first shot stops we got to rebound the basketball. We're giving them 16 extra shots. I think neither team played their best from an offensive standpoint. I think we turned it over 20 times. They turned it over 27 times. But their offensive rebounding, I think, is what got them over the hump in that basketball game. But we'll be ready. We're coming off Salem's game on Wednesday. We'll have 2 days to prepare. We're going to watch the tape some more. And I know the team will be ready for sure. I don't think we have a rival right now, but the group kind of looks at this group as, something that we're chasing. It's the defending champ, Phil. They were able to hoist the banner last year, and that's something that we're after. So it'll be something that the group is ready to go for. I have no doubt about that.
Well, what I witnessed on Saturday, January 18th, is that the Tornadoes can go toe-to-toe with the defending champs. And so I'm looking forward
that's the plan.
to a big result on Saturday. And looking forward to seeing fans out on Wednesday for the doubleheader with the Salem women's basketball game following the men's Greensboro matchup this coming Wednesday. Coach, we've got a couple of your student athletes who've been waiting patiently backstage. We're going to invite them into the program. Can you stick around just a second or 2 more?
Yep, absolutely.
We're going to invite into the program now Shania Hauser, also Kennedie Noble, Looking forward to our conversation with these two. And before we get into it with these two a little bit, Coach, tell NATO Nation what these two are all about.
Okay. Shania Hauser, Kennedie Noble. Shania is a senior from South Iredale High School, aka Shanae. Kennedie Noble is a sophomore from Maiden High School, aka Nobly. And these two really, really represent Brevard College women's basketball in the right way, Phil. They are a coach's dream. They're where they need to be when they need to be there, and they work extremely hard. A lot of coaching is things outside of basketball. You kind of look forward to what the next 5 or 10 years are going to look like with certain players. And some of them you worry about. Like, you worry about if these kids are going to be okay when they graduate. But these two I have no doubt about. They're going to be super successful in life. They're about the right things. They do the right things for the program. And really good kids. Really good. It's an honor to have them on our program. And my son loves Kennedie Noble, by the way. It's a fun fact.
Nice. Hey, just one more, Coach, because I'd love to hear your perspective on this. These two, I notice, get a lot of the little things done in kind of when they're on the court. Oftentimes, the Tornadoes are just absolutely clicking, both sides, offense and defense. Can you tell us even more about what they bring on the court?
And listen, that kind of goes into the off-the-court things that I was talking about. Like, these two are always in the right spots. They communicate really well on both sides of the floor. They know the plays. They know when and where to look for their offense. And the biggest thing is, to me, that these two are always in the right spot defensively. They defend at a high level, and on our defensive side, they keep us on a string. And they do a lot of the things that don't show up on a stat sheet. Like, you may look at a stat sheet and not see a ton of points at times or a ton of statistical things. But if you watch the game with a keen eye, you know what you're looking for. You know that these two are playing some really good basketball for us.
Great stuff. Well, Coach, look forward to seeing you at the Bosch on Wednesday night for the doubleheader. Best of luck this week in the continued preparation with this USA South schedule. And thanks for joining the show.
Yep. Have a good night, ladies. I'll see y'all.
All right, there he goes, head coach Donald Hudson. And Coach Hudson helped us introduce these two. We've got Kennedie Noble in the house, a sophomore from Newton, North Carolina. How are you, Kennedie?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. And Shania Hauser joining us once again, also the senior from Statesville, North Carolina. How are you, Shania?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Well, Kennedie, let's start with you. You guys have had a great season thus far, 11-3 overall. Or check that, even more wins than that. I'm totally off the mark here. Let me make sure I've got it right. 13-4 overall, 8-2 in the USA South Conference. So off to a great start this season, playing just fantastic basketball. What do you think the key has been so far for you guys with all the success? And, what's the key going to be moving forward as well?
I think the key is our communication that we have on defense with zone and man. It's just we talk very, very well for a team, and it really keeps us together, knowing where we need to be and our personnel with the other team. It just really helps us.
Shania, what do you think has been the main factor in you guys having a winning season to this degree so far?
I think since we're such a seasoned team, we have a lot of I'm just gonna call us old heads. I can't think right now. Like a lot of older people, and just remembering the past couple of years, like we haven't been able to get past the semifinals. So I think we really want to make it to the championship this year.
So there's a hunger in this year's team, is what I'm hearing there. Kenny, can you elaborate on that as far as, the team went so far last year. Now you got another shot at it this year. Just what motivates this year's Tornadoes women's basketball team?
We all want the same thing. We all want a ring, and we really want to beat Southern Virginia. We want to be first and take over that.
Well, an opportunity this weekend, a trip to Southern Virginia. But first things first, a trip just next door to the Bosch. You'll be able to be play in front of the hometown crowd. Shania, how much energy does the crowd bring the players on the women's basketball team? Does it make a difference when the student section's rocking in there?
Yes, they bring a ton of energy, especially when it's a close game. And the SBU game, for example, was a close game. They were saying the defensive chant with us. It was amazing.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, no doubt. So really encouraging folks to come on out on Wednesday night, cheer on the women's basketball team. It'll be following the men's game. Men's game starts at 5:30, women's game approximately 7:30. Hope to see you there. Kennedy, back to what Coach was saying as far as, sort of your style of play. Tell us a little bit about what you try to accomplish every time you get out there on the court for the Tornadoes.
I try to play my role and just be in my spot for defense and not let the team do what they're good at and put a stop to them, and then get us in the lead for offense and start that.
And Shania, same question for you. You play much more in the front court. You're working the glass and working down low as well, correct?
Yes. I really try to go in for offensive rebounds on the offensive end just to get my team extra shots. And then defense, I love playing defense. I've been a defender since, I don't know, as long as I played basketball. So that's just.
All right. Well, that's a perfect segue, because my next question was, how long have you been playing basketball? Shania, tell us how you got your start in the sport of basketball and kind of how it evolved from there.
I kind of watched my oldest brother play, so around 4th grade, I think. And then in high school, I was like, well, I want to go further.
And then Shania, just as a follow-up to that, how did you discover Brevard College, or how did Brevard College discover you? How did that all work itself out?
Yeah, funny story. I had a friend that attended here, and then I helped her move in. And then like a couple of months later, I saw Coach Hud review my profile, and then we connected, and I came and visited, and I absolutely loved the campus and loved the atmosphere I got from the coaches and the players.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, haven't looked back since. Kennedy, would love to learn more about your background in the sport of basketball as well. When did you first pick up a basketball and start dribbling, and take us from there?
For as long as I can remember, I started playing when I was 5, and I really looked up to my brother. He played all throughout his life and in college, and I just kind of wanted to be like him. And then I got here, and I love it. Just love everything about this campus and my team.
Great stuff. Yeah, great to have you both part of this team, and love seeing what the women's basketball team has been doing this season. And I know there's going to be plenty of success to follow. Well, you mentioned love being at the college. Love to dig into it a little further. Kennedy, what makes Brevard College and this experience of being a member of the Brevard College women's basketball team special to you?
Everybody is just here to live out their dream to play basketball and support one another and lift each other up through the ups and downs, and just play the love that we have for this game.
And Shania, can you sum up what it's been like to be a part of this women's basketball program and what the experience has been like for you? I know you're not done yet, but senior year now, so I know you might have been doing some reflection back on all the great times you've had.
Yeah, it's such a small school, and we say sisterhood every day, and we really mean that. Like, a couple of girls graduated, but I still talk with them every day, and that means everything to me, especially like growing up as the only girl. So
awesome. Good, great stuff. Shania, tell us what you're up to in the classroom. You're senior year, so you'll be graduating soon. What's the degree going to be in? What have you been studying?
Yeah, I'm a double major in psychology and health science.
And have you thought, looking ahead, what you might want to do after graduation with those degrees?
Yes, I want to go to this medical device sales school for about 10 weeks, and then at some point later in the future get my master's in healthcare administration. Very
nice. Great stuff there, and a couple of fantastic programs here at Brevard College. Same question for you, Kennedy. You're earlier in your academic career, year 2, the sophomore from Newton, North Carolina. Tell us what you're majoring in and what you're focusing on in the classroom.
I'm majoring in exercise science, just learning how to deal with the body with sports and go into PT after all this.
Very good. Kennedy Noble and Shania Hauser, 2 outstanding members of this women's basketball team. They'll be in action on Wednesday versus Salem. All right, Shania, Kennedy, you guys know the drill. There's a tradition here at Tornado Talk where you get the opportunity to give shout outs or thank yous to anyone who's helped you along the way or might be tuning into the show, someone you just want to, say hello to. The floor is yours. Shania, why don't you get us started? Shout outs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shout out to my family, my friends, and hi, Grandma. See us professional. Okay, I'm finished.
Very nice. Same opportunity for you, Kennedy.
Hey, Mom and Dad. Just want to say thank you for supporting me. Thank you, Mom, for being my number one fan and supporter, and thank you, Dad, for giving me the love that I have for this sport.
Very good. Kennedy Noble, Shania Hauser, two outstanding members of this women's basketball team. Really enjoyed having you on the show tonight. Can't wait to see you back in action on Wednesday night at the Bosch. Thanks for joining the show. Great job, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. We're going to switch gears quickly here because Brevard College student athletes, in specific the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, was at the NCAA convention recently, and we're going to invite into the program two leaders from Brevard College SAAC, Ive Leighton and also Hayden Domingo, as they're joining the program here. Great to have them aboard to recap this experience that these two had in Nashville, Tennessee. With us is Hayden Domingo. He's the head of community engagement at SAAC and also a men's soccer student athlete. How are you, Hayden?
I'm great. Good to be here.
And alongside Hayden is Ive Leighton, the president of SAAC this year. She's a softball student athlete from Orlando, Florida. Ive, great to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. How are you?
Yeah, it's great to have you guys. I can't wait to hear some stories and a recap from your perspective on this experience that the two of you had. Just to give folks a little bit of background, the NCAA convention, which happens once a year. And when I say the NCAA convention, this is like the big deal NCAA convention. I mean, we're talking, NCAA president and his council. We're talking athletic directors and college presidents from all three NCAA divisions, 1, 2, and 3. We're talking celebrities. We're talking ESPN personalities. We're talking movers, shakers, all these things at the NCAA convention. And this year it was in Nashville, Tennessee, representing Brevard College's athletic department from the administration standpoint. Director of Athletics, Miranda Nash, and also Senior Woman Administrator and Assistant AD, Kristen Rosado. But meanwhile, these two student athletes got to go to the convention as well as, representatives of SAAC, representatives of the USA South Conference, and you guys got to soak it all in, got to experience it firsthand, got to participate in different things. So let's start here, Hayden. Can you sum it up, what this event was like for you to attend?
Oh, yeah, it was like anything. It's like nothing I've experienced before. It had a little bit of everything, a little bit of leadership training, a lot of collaboration with other student athletes from other divisions, other conferences, other SAAC members. And then just to tie it all together at the end was the big business center where we saw our division vote on new legislation. And we got to see people vote in real time. So that was probably the most educational part of it for me. And it's really interesting to see how much the NCAA takes student athlete participation into account.
Ive, would love for you to add to that from your perspective. What was the experience like for you?
Yeah, so leading away from the legislative side of things, we really got to collab with the other SAAC groups from across our conference and bounce ideas off each other of what we could do to improve our programs and just hearing how things are at their school and what they do to really get everybody involved. And it was really nice just hearing and talking to different people, not just from our conference, but from all different conferences, talking to our national SAAC rep, who was amazing. And it was just overall a really great experience.
Yeah, really, really something that you guys got to experience this. I'm so happy for each of you that you got to see this firsthand. So, Ive, you mentioned the other conferences, the people you got to interact with. Can you share with us some of those interactions and some of the folks that you were able to network with?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we talked to some of these conferences, personally, I didn't even know existed because there's so many of them from across the state. I met new people from Mississippi, New England, Illinois, California, and it was just really interesting hearing how like they run their SAACs at their school, because some of them have like 60 plus people and meet like twice a week. So they have a very different dynamic than we do. So it's really interesting hearing how they run things and how they benefit and what their struggles are also.
Yeah, the SAAC standing for Student Athlete Advisory Committee, two of the leaders here with us here. And Hayden, you mentioned the legislation and that you got to witness. And so just to give folks even a better idea and to sort of visualize this, Evie and Hayden had the opportunity, along with the other USA South student athletes, to sit in when the voting is taking place, passing this legislation for NCAA rules and new sports and all these kind of things. Can you describe what that was like, Hayden, to be in that room while those huge decisions are being made?
Right. It was really cool for me. I love law. I have a minor in pre-law. This type of thing is right up my alley. They would make motions, they would second it, and then we would get to see each issue brought up. And then there was certain groups within the conference who would have something to say about that issue, one being the National SAAC, which is completely made of student athletes from about a representative from each conference or two around the nation for D3. And they would speak around every issue and say why they supported it and what they thought was good. Or, I mean, it wasn't in our case, but if they disagreed with it, they would say that too. So that was really cool that they had an opportunity to speak. And then we had other people, like our commissioner came to the mic too and got to speak about everything. And then just to see all the votes counted in real time right there in front of you was really cool. And then obviously, say for instance, we voted on women's wrestling, and you got 100% of the votes, and then you just see it pop up on screen. Everybody applauds. So really, really cool moment for women's sports and sports in general.
Evie, what were your really distinct memories from being inside that legislative session?
It was something I've never seen before. I'm not as familiar with anything law, so it was really interesting to really just get to sit as a full student and really take everything in and just see how and what people thought on these certain topics and how things were getting drawn. And it was just an overall really educational experience for me.
Awesome stuff. Ive Leighton and Hayden Domingo, members of SAAC, who just attended the NCAA convention. Evie, did you see any celebrities? Did you see any media personalities, that kind of thing?
Yeah, like from a softball standpoint, during the Women of the Year Awards, we got to see some really big names in softball, in the softball world. Kiki Malloy was up there. Holly Rowe, who is she announces for all the Women's College World Series games. And I know me and my roommate there, she's a softball player at Methodist, and we were fangirling completely over seeing them up there because we never thought we'd see them in person.
Awesome stuff. Hayden, anything to add to that as far as just sort of the gravity of the personalities in the room?
Yeah, I didn't realize it as much. Obviously, not being too involved in like softball and stuff. So, but we got back to the hotel and they were like, "I can't believe we saw Holly Rowe." And to be honest, I didn't really know who she was at that point. And then I get back to school and we're watching the NFL, and all of a sudden she's on TV. Or no, we're watching the college championship and she's on TV. And I was like, "Oh, I saw her at the convention." So that was really cool.
Yeah, certainly a big name in softball, as you mentioned, Evie, Holly Rowe, ESPN. She's the lead college football reporter on the sidelines. She does a ton in the women's college basketball and the WNBA as well. And so that's really cool that you got to see her in kind of this different role, doing some MC work at the NCAA convention. Great stuff there. Last one before we get to Brevard College, SAAC. Tell us sort of the layout and what it was like to be in Nashville, Tennessee. Kind of an interesting spot for the convention, and a lot happening in Nashville, but also you guys were at just a spectacular resort. What was that like, Evie?
So it was honestly stunning. It was like a mini city inside that hotel. The layout was we were always doing something, always on the move. We were with other people from our conference, so it really got us a chance to bond with people from our conference, because even though we're rivals on the field, we really got a chance to step back and become friends and learn each other. And they had us inside leadership meetings, learning how to be a better leader and really take it back to our teams. And not to mention sitting in again on all the legislative stuff, just bringing it back and really like being like, hey, we got to be here, we got to witness this and look at all the stuff we learned.
And Hayden, you and I were talking beforehand. It's my understanding that you got to know the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center awfully well via a scavenger hunt. Tell us more.
Yes, definitely. Our conference leaders, Mike Christie and Tom Hart, had set up a scavenger hunt for the student athletes. We had like probably about a 3-hour break in between a dinner we had planned and a meeting that we were in. And so the scavenger hunt included a bunch of different tasks from all around this hotel, biggest hotel I've ever been in. They were just random things. One included getting a picture with Charlie Baker, which is the president of the NCAA. And my group was the only group to actually spot him, but he was in a very important meeting, and we almost got in trouble trying to get a picture with him. We were a little too ambitious. But despite not getting the picture, we did end up winning the scavenger hunt. So happy to take that home along with everything else I learned.
Great stuff there. Really appreciate you sharing with us that story as well. Well, Evie, the president of SAAC, let us know what's going on with Brevard College SAAC. I know coming off this convention, you guys have been re-energized, and I'm sure you've been talking to your fellow SAAC members about ideas and that kind of thing. What are the plans for this spring semester?
So the plans right now, the big one we have is Pennies for a Purpose. We got that started right when we got back from the convention, and we've already started putting up jars around campus. We're going to have different activities collabing with CAB, hosting like volleyball tournaments where if you want to play, just give any change you can, be a penny, a quarter, a dollar, anything you really need. And all the proceeds this year are going to go to hurricane relief to really help Western North Carolina, because we all know we were heavily impacted by that. Also, towards the end of this semester, we're going to be hosting like the annual pie, like pie a staff member, but we're also going to throw in pieing other student athletes, where if you want to pie your fellow teammate, all you have to do is give them like a couple dollars, and then you get to pie your own teammate.
And when you say pie, this is throwing a pie in someone's face, correct?
Oh, yeah, just like we did with our athletic staff last year, except we're bringing it home to the students this year because we feel like they'd really enjoy this and get a little kick out of it.
Well, if you did the athletic staff last year, thank goodness I somehow avoided that participation. I hope I'm not putting myself up for future pie smash in the face. Hayden, anything to add as far as excitement for this spring with SAAC?
Oh, really? I mean, Evie really hit on it. I mean, we had a meeting basically right when we got back, and just to be able to share with our fellow tornadoes everything that we learned and really see them like take that and engage and give us that energy back. So really excited for this semester, what all we can do, especially being head of community engagement, looking out to get some new community engagement projects going. And I was just loving all the ideas that all the student athletes were bouncing off in the meeting. So definitely going to be a great semester for SAAC.
Hayden Domingo, member of that men's soccer program here at Brevard College. Excited about some spring training for you all, and then looking forward to next year, of course. Hayden, any words about men's soccer, what you guys are trying to accomplish there?
We actually had a meeting today. So we're discussing, obviously, spring coming up. We have a really impressive schedule that we're playing next year, playing some new teams we've never played before. College from Illinois, a lot of really the challenging colleges in Virginia. So we got a good schedule next year. Really excited for it. Also covered a little bit of our possible summer trip to Brazil. So that's still in the works for the men's soccer student athletes.
Awesome stuff. And Ive Leighton, Al, you guys have been working diligently at the softball field, getting ready for your season opener, which is just a few weeks away. Can you preview this year's softball season and how excited the team is?
Yeah, absolutely. We are actually very ecstatic. We just came off of our first weekend of inter squads. They turned out phenomenal. Have very high hopes going to the season. We actually just got done with the team lift right before I came in here. And just energies are high, spirits high. The team, it really feels like we're just a bunch of sisters out there. And this is I'm probably most excited for this year out of all of them.
Awesome stuff. Well, I want to give you a chance, Evie. Got any shout outs or thank yous for us? Anybody who you want to say hello to or has helped you along the way?
I'd like to shout out my parents, my grandpa, and my sister Belle. Just saw her like 5 minutes ago, but I'm going to shout out her on here.
Very good. Hayden, how about you?
Definitely my family, my girlfriend Nico. I got my intramural futsal team about to kick off in about 30 minutes. So shout out the Dozers. Got to catch a dub tonight. But yeah.
Great stuff. Two of the leaders here at Brevard College, the president and the head of community engagement of SAAC here at Brevard College, coming off that fantastic experience in Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, great job, and thank you for representing Brevard College so well out there at the NCAA convention. I can't wait to talk to you even more and learn more about what you experienced, but glad we're able to share some of that with our audience here on Tornado Talk. Thanks for joining the show.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, earlier this afternoon, we caught up with men's basketball head coach Lee Burgess, as well as Carson Evans and Charles Reed from the men's basketball team. Full disclosure, the men's basketball team right now is practicing in preparation for their matchup on Wednesday, but they're able to take some time out of their day earlier this afternoon, and we'll bring you that interview now. Thanks again for joining Tornado Talk, and we look forward to seeing you at a future edition of Tornado Talk and also a Brevard College Tornado Athletics event. Let's roll with the men's basketball recording from earlier today, starting with head coach Lee Burgess. Competitive league, top to bottom. Teams continue to and very pleased to be joined this evening by head men's basketball coach Lee Burgess. Coach Burgess, really appreciate you making time for us. I know busy part of the schedule we're currently in. Thanks for joining the show. How are you, Coach?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Phil. Thanks for making an effort to have us on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, USA South Conference play continues. We knew it from the get-go. This was going to be a very competitive league, top to bottom. Teams continue to knock each other off. It's a horse race to the finish here for the USA South Conference standings. What are you noticing about the conference as a whole now that we're this far into the season?
There's a lot of good teams in this conference with not a lot of separation between them, and so the margin for error night in and night out is very, very small. If you show up ready to go and the other team isn't, then you've got a good chance at winning that game. And vice versa. If you don't show up and they do, you're going to have a hard time winning that game. And if both teams show up and are ready to go, it's going to be a pretty good fist fight back and forth to see who comes out on top. There's just not a lot of separation between the teams. There's a lot of parity. And it makes for some exciting games.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Coach. You look at those standings. There's a bunch of teams just bunched up there in the middle of the standings, and the Tornadoes will be seeing two of those teams this week, beginning with Greensboro on Wednesday, who's currently just a half game behind Brevard in the schedule. Obviously, huge matchup Wednesday. Can you help preview the Greensboro matchup?
Yeah, it is a big game for us. We haven't played Greensboro yet this year. This will be our first time to see them. We've seen everybody else in the league and are finished with Southern Virginia. We've played them twice already. So it's our first time to see Greensboro. Isaiah Pruitt for them is a very, very talented and good player, a senior. He's from this area. He is always pretty motivated to play us and usually has some supporters in the crowd as well. But a talented player, can score it, has the ball in his hands a lot for them. Our ability to guard him, keep him from getting easy looks, keep him from creating for his teammates is going to be very, very important. They play a very deliberate style, both offensively and defensively. So it's one of the slower paced teams in the league. So possessions will be at a premium. We'll have to take advantage of the possessions that we get. There will probably be less possessions for us in this game than what we're accustomed to. So loose possessions for us offensively or possessions where we're turning it over at a higher rate are even more magnified against a team like this where possessions are somewhat limited.
Big USA South Conference battle on Wednesday. That's part of another men's-women's doubleheader on Wednesday evening. Looking forward to a big crowd there, students coming out and so forth. And then Saturday, a matchup versus Mary Baldwin. And I must say, Coach, this seems like it was ages ago, but it was just a few weeks ago when the Tornadoes headed to Staunton, Virginia. Mary Baldwin got the better of the Tornadoes in that one, but a big opportunity here to even the score versus Mary Baldwin on Saturday.
Yeah, it will be. We'll turn our attention to them probably Thursday morning and get ready. But it was a game that they took it to us at their place. I'm sure that we'll be challenging our guys to meet that intensity and meet that fight, because I would expect nothing less from Mary Baldwin. In that game, that was one of the games that I mentioned. I think Mary Baldwin showed up ready to go. Our edge wasn't quite as sharp as it needed to be, and then we got what we got from that. So we'll have an opportunity to make that right, an opportunity to do that at home against the team that won the league last year and is towards the top of the conference this year. So we'll prepare this evening, a little later this evening, and then tomorrow for Greensboro, lay it out there on Wednesday against Greensboro, and then turn the page quickly to get ready for Saturday.
Two big opportunities this week for NATO Nation to come out, see the men's basketball team Wednesday versus Greensboro, then Saturday versus Mary Baldwin. Hope to see you there. Well, just moments ago, some breaking news from the USA South. Twain Wilson, well, he did it again. His 5th USA South Conference Rookie of the Week award. And along with his freshman colleague, Brennan Wansley, the two of them have won 10 of the 11 available Rookie of the Week awards this season. So Wilson's won 5, Wansley's won 5. We've talked about it before, Coach, but would love to hear your reaction to yet another Rookie of the Week award. And furthermore, just what players like Twain Wilson and Brennan Wansley are bringing to the program.
It's great recognition for Twain and great recognition for Brennan, and well-deserved. It's not easy to, come in and produce as well as they've produced as true freshmen. I mean, and that's why you only have one of these awards each week. And there's not a lot of them. Only one person can get it, and there's usually several candidates. But our guys have certainly stood out among those to garner all the attention that they're getting. But not an easy thing to produce at the level that they've produced. Both of those guys are averaging in double figures, which is an impressive feat. They were playing high school basketball last year. Proud of them, happy for them, well deserved, and looking for both of them to have strong finishes down the stretch.
Yeah, you mentioned it, strong finishes. That's the prerogative down the stretch here. Greensboro, Mary Baldwin, road trip to Pfeiffer and Methodist, then back home against William Peace, and then end the season on the road, Greensboro and NC Wesleyan, all leading up to that USA South Conference tournament. Coach, with this few games left, this juncture of the season, what's the message to the team as far as how to finish off strong and close out the year?
Yeah, well, right now we don't necessarily feel like there's a few games left. We're in the thick of it right now. We're halfway through the conference schedule, so in a lot of ways we're kind of at the halfway point of that. So there's still a long way to go. Every team writes their own book, right? They write what that story looks like for this year, and we still got a long way to go to see what this book looks like at the end. So there's going to be a lot of teams, not just us, but a lot of teams that are jockeying for position here in this tournament. And there's going to be a lot of meaningful games that are going to be played here down the stretch. So really the message is not to look too far ahead. Just focus on what's in front. Greensboro's in front of us right now. We can't control what our game against Pfeiffer in a week and a half is going to look like right now. We're not worried about that. We can't control what our game against North Carolina Wesleyan, at the last regular season game of the year is going to look like right now. What we can control is Greensboro at home on Wednesday. We'll play that game. And then, like I said before, we'll turn the page quickly and get ready beginning Thursday for Mary Baldwin. It's one game at a time. But I think as a coach and I think, as our guys, we still see a lot of season left. So it's no time to kind of put your eyes on the end right now. We're in the thick of it. We're in the thick of it and just want to control what we can control. And right now, that's Greensboro on Wednesday.
In just a matter of moments, Coach, we're going to have two of your student athletes on the show. But before we invite them in, I want to just talk about these two a little further because they're two exceptional members of this Brevard College program, both graduate students here at Brevard College, Charles Reed and Carson Evans. I'll give you the chance to kind of, go back and forth with them a little bit with everybody on the screen here. But before we invite them on, can you talk a little just in depth about Charles, Carson, that sort of veteran leadership and just how important that is to the program?
Yeah, I mean, those guys have meant the world to me and this program, both fifth-year guys. And that is super rare in Division III basketball to have fifth-year guys. They're both using their COVID year to come back and be part of the program. So, we've had a few four-year guys, and they're special and getting rarer and rarer in this day and age of college athletics. But to have, fifth-year guys that have all, been here through the thick and thin of 5 years. And, I think both those guys, at the end of it, when this thing is done and they get away from the season for a little bit, to be able to look back on what it was like for them as freshmen with the program to where it is now, and hopefully a strong finish that they can look back on. I think that's going to be special memories that they have. I hope it is. And I think they're going to get tremendous gratification for the hand that they have had in building that because they've been hugely instrumental in the progress of the program.
No doubt about it, Coach. I've had the pleasure of getting to know both of them off the court as well, but as students, as work studies, as broadcasters, and all sorts of forums here at Brevard College, and just two excellent examples of what it means to be a Tornado. Well, let's invite them in. As you and I are going on and on about Carson and Charles, the two of them are waiting backstage, so we'll invite them into the program. And now that you have them both on screen, Coach, perhaps you can give just a few more words about these two, and perhaps there's something that NATO Nation doesn't know about these two that you could enlighten us on.
Yeah, I don't know about stuff that they don't know. They've been here for long enough and have done enough of these Tornado Talk interviews. I think our people know them really, really well. Charles has been on before this year already. Said a lot of good things about him, and nothing with that has changed. I got so much love for Charles and appreciation for how much he's done for our program, and looking forward to a strong finish from him. But I do certainly want to highlight Carson right now for sure with what he has been able to do this year. Carson being a 2-year starter heading into this year, and dealt with some injury over the offseason, and it's really taken him a while to get his feet under him. And his role has changed a little bit this year, and he has handled that with the utmost team first mentality of somebody that I've been around, anybody that I've been around in a long, long time. And I think it's done a lot for why our team has had so many successes so far this year. You see some situations where guys are in the boat that Carson's in, and number one, when the opportunity does come for them, they're not ready. And Carson has been ready every time that we've called his number and needed him. He's been ready. So that's number one. And number two, you see some guys that have a little bit different role and have a hard time accepting that, and they become disgruntled. They become a distraction, and it's maintenance off the floor for a team to deal with. And we haven't had to do that with Carson at all to his credit. So definitely want people to know that about him, the type of young man that he is. Number one, to not be a distraction and to just stay head down, keep working, but then to be able to be called upon on a very inconsistent basis and be able to go in and contribute on that inconsistent basis is a skill that is not easy to come by. So super thankful for Carson, and he'll have more opportunities as this year goes on, I'm sure. But for both of these guys, Carson and Charles, fifth-year guys that are very near and dear to my heart, close to my heart, and a lot of love for both of them, and what they've been able to do to help elevate this program is very much appreciated.
Great stuff, Coach. Have a great practice tonight. We'll see you around the Bosch, and we'll see you on Wednesday versus Greensboro. Thanks for joining the show, Coach Lee Burgess.
Absolutely. Thanks.
All right, there goes Coach Burgess. And as Coach Burgess introduced these two, and as he said, so much of NATO Nation already knows these two well in their 5th years. Carson Evans joining the show in that upper right location. How are you this afternoon, Carson, since we're taping this a little early? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, and I'm glad you invited me to be on here. And it's always fun to do these type of things, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have you aboard, Carson, and great to have once again with us Charles Reed, grad student out of Concord, North Carolina. How's it going, Charles?
It's going well, Phil. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you guys. Well, Carson, let's start with you. You know, I started the interview with Coach talking about sort of this juncture of the season. You know, we're in the thick of that USA South Conference schedule, starting to see the finish line out there a little bit, but still a long way to go at the same time. Can you kind of sum up where the team is at this point and the team's mentality at this point?
Yeah, we want to win. We've had a couple years in the past where we get to the first round of the playoffs, second round of the playoffs, and we fall short. And we feel like this year is the definite year that we're trying to win it all. And everybody on the team is hungry; they all want to win. And we lost the last 2, so like Coach was saying, this one on Wednesday, Greensboro, is important, especially for the rankings. And after that, we just gotta stack them together, go on a little streak because we're trying to win it all this year.
Charles, could you add to that as far as, where you guys are at heading into practice tonight and in this week ahead?
Yeah, like Coach said, we're just trying to take one game at a time. The conference is real close right now, so one game can determine anything. So we're just trying to stay poised and just trying to get wins, man. Just trying to stack up wins.
Yeah, we're seeing some of these graphics come across, some of the numbers and so forth between these two, Carson Evans and Charles Reed. And Carson, Coach mentioned a little bit of a different role this season. Came off an injury late last year as well, where you had that late in the season and you had to deal with, and you're back as a grad student here at Brevard College. Can you tell us a little bit about this year, how are you feeling at this point? And we saw that big performance at William Peace not too long ago. A big part of the effort there to get that road win.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. Like you said, when I got injured and it was the last game of the season last year, over the summer I spent hours daily and physical therapists and in the weight room, just trying to get my knees and my ankles back healthy and get my legs back under me. So it's been a long road, and I've just been happy just to be here and just to be back healthy, and my body feels good now. Like you said, I went out there against William Peace and had a good game, but then Pfeiffer did a little something. But like you said, like Coach said, it's been an inconsistent season for me and a little different road. But I'm just excited to be here. I'm happy how the team is doing, and it's been fun, especially for being my last year. I'm just glad that I'm healthy now and available for my team.
Charles Reed with us as well. And we notice a graphic there, Charles, career high 12 rebounds in a win at LaGrange, kind of the early part of that USA South Conference schedule. 12 boards in that one. Can you reflect back on that game and how you were just cleaning it up on the glass?
Yeah, that was a crazy game. We was down the whole game. So timeouts, we can come back. I mean, game's not over to the clock stays 0-0. So our guys was just defense. We just getting stopped. So they were kind of big too. So I had to go down there and help my team out a little bit. Guards don't tend to rebound a lot. So I'm different. I'm one of those guards that like to go down there and bang sometimes.
Yeah, and that's kind of defined your career here, Charles, and your style of play, getting down there, banging with the bigger players amongst the trees, that kind of thing. Some more numbers on you, 99 career steals. So one more, Charles. We discovered this today as we were getting ready for the show. One more, and you're at that century mark for steals. Ton of assists. 337 rebounds in your BC career. Charles, I know there's plenty more to come, but I'd love for you to comment on your own game as far as, that well-rounded ability to get it done on the defensive end, to dish out assist where needed, to clean it up on the glass as well.
Yeah. So like growing up, I wasn't always a big scorer. So I had to find ways I can contribute to the team. So I found that I was good at defense. So I held on to that, steals, rebounds, just so and so like that. So just keep me on the court. I've always tried to perfect those.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And Carson, I'd love for your comments on these sort of, parts of the game that people might not see in the box score necessarily. All the little things that, it takes for a winning team to succeed. Can you talk about yourself and, how you try to, have that well-rounded approach, but also how important it is to the team?
Yeah, like you said, it's the plays that don't show up in the box score on the stat sheet, and the plays that like fans probably wouldn't understand or see. It's just like winning plays, like deflections, taking charges, hustling, diving on the floor for loose balls, like all that stuff just helps you win games. And shout out to Charles. I mean, he does all of that. He plays defense, deflections. Like he's a hustle player, and that's why he plays. And he's been here all 4 years and for 5 years, and he's been great. But I try to be like Charles and be a dog on the defensive end and have all that energy, because those are the plays that help you win games.
All right, one more before we get into some sort of off the court stuff with you guys both being grad students. Carson out of Charlotte, Charles out of Concord. We've talked about it before. This Charlotte connection with the Tornadoes. You guys making the trip up here to the mountains. Did the two of you know each other back in high school and in that scene down there? And have you guys been able to connect some of those dots now that you're both here and both part of the Tornado program? Carson?
Yeah, like in high school, we didn't know each other. He played some of the schools that my school has played, but we didn't know each other. But since we've been here and got to know each other for the past 4 or 5 years, we've connected over the summer in the off season and trained together, worked out. Because like you said, we're both local and close to Charlotte. So it's been cool knowing him this whole time and connecting with him outside of Brevard and back in Charlotte. We work out or just hang out and stuff like that.
Anything to add to that, Charles, as far as you guys getting together? That's pretty cool that you guys would get together back in Charlotte after experiencing each other as teammates here.
Yeah, so how I found out about Carson, my dad was like, he seen the recent commits and he seen that he was from Charlotte. So I reached out to him about being a roommate. So we was roommates for freshman and sophomore year, and it's just an unbelievable experience. We've been through some highs, we've been through some lows, and we just made a great connection, man. That's my brother, man. I love him.
It's great stuff. No doubt about it. Carson Evans, grad student, in your 5th year here on as a member of the BC Tornado basketball team. Tell us a little bit of, Carson, what you're working on in the classroom in the grad program.
Yeah, so I'm in the master's program, the MBA. It's pretty new here at Brevard, and that's all online. And it's been good for me and a new experience, kind of a different work style that I'm used to in the classroom. More workload, but it's weekly, so assignment is due every week, and it's been good to keep me active because you have a lot more time on your hands. But I enjoy doing the work and connecting with new professors that I've never met, so it's been good.
Charles, fill us in on your graduate work.
Yeah, so I'm in the same class as Carson in. It's real challenging. At first it was I was able to pass through, but now it's getting real challenging. Have to lock down and really study. But I'm excited to where it's gonna take me with my professional career outside of basketball.
Yeah, congrats on both of you guys for taking on that challenge. MBA, that looks pretty good after anybody's name. No doubt about that. And great to see you doing it here at Brevard College while also keeping your basketball careers going also. Well, last chance, guys, before we sign off today. I want to give you both the opportunity for any shout outs or thank yous you might have, folks who might be tuning into the show or just have helped you along the way. Carson, what you got for us?
Yeah, I'll just keep it simple. I just want to shout out my family, my brother, mom, dad, the whole family, aunt, uncle, everybody just has been holding it down while I've been injured and going through this season. They just telling me to keep going, keep my head up and, just stay with it. So I just want to shout out them and thank them. And I love them.
Well said. Charles?
Yeah, I just want to shout out my family as well. My dad, mom, sister, brother. Thank you for just being there, being somebody I can call on when I'm struggling or going through something like that. So supporting me through all of this. And then I want to shout out my teammates, my brothers, man. We've been through it this season, but we're gonna finish strong, man. And I love them boys.
Well, big shout out to both of you all. You continue to, just continue to impress us and make us proud here that you're Brevard College Tornadoes. Can't wait to see how you guys close things out here on this season. That'll begin, that journey from this point forward begins on Wednesday versus Greensboro. We'll see you in action there at the Bosch. Carson Evans, Charles Reed, great stuff. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you.
All right, that'll wrap up another edition of Tornado Talk. Glad you're able to join us for this week's show. Big thank you to our producer, Alex Bolton, also our sports information director, Joseph Marvin, and also Sharif Pennington helping us behind the scenes for this edition of Tornado Talk. Hope to see you at a future Brevard College Tornado Athletics event. Go Tornadoes!